Oh.
And after that, speech will be followed by Dr. Tuboy, Chairman Secretary PDAK, and other KGB and other dignitaries. Vote of thanks, Sri Lenjin Singson, Chairman Anglo-Kuki War Commemorating Committee.
First Korean bung som chang som thum le khat na bol zo se pa kai lo pi na dingin bolun na ti bangen ito itham ho zo se pathen lo pin a za ikingai lut naw ikilung sen naw su pung na hi the na dingin I program ho zo se than do na ini masangoven pathen thu nga zoite Joshua bung khat chang ko Keiman kasol wa na bol ham hanin lang hangin nakisat lo hel ding a he lung thoi na jong na ne lo ding a he ai chu na che na chana pakai na pathin na lon pi jing nai ati proverb bung som ni la bung ni chang som ni la get na pu na pa teo phu sa go lui la za sung chu na bo do lo hel ding a he pathin thwing isim to ho zo se athunei pan chan chiwa din Avelin papatin pati bu piwan lang patin henga tao na ni jote let us pray ni happy vintin na kun akan pe do zo vin ai zakai nang malung god zo hiding in hat sung nung pen kapakai Yesu Krista mina ka thu ai
we would like to felicitate our chief guest Shri Mukul Kumar Saikia ikut this is our traditional jacket. This is woven by the Kuki women, and this jacket is being presented by the Kuki Gaumbra Association, sir. In honor of you, so we are very much thankful to you, and this is a memento Anglo-Kuki War 1917 to 1919 presented to Sri Mukul Kumar Saikia, ACS Deputy Commissioner, Dipu Karbi Anglong, for gracing the occasion as chief guest on 17th October 2019 at KNA Office Complex, Manja, Karbi Anglong, Assam, presented by Anglo-Kuki War 1917 to 1919 Centenary Commemoration Committee, Karbi Anglong District Unit. And next, we would like to honor Professor Dr. Lamkulal Dungel. Sir, would you please stand? Remembrance of your presence. And this is a memento.
Thank you.
And may I request Dr. Tuboy. And we have also a very special guest in our midst, Sri Zhang Lun Hang Sing, Vice Chairman KRA. We welcome you, sir, for gracing this occasion as special guest. So would you please come this? Another guest we have in our midst, Sri Zhang Lin Kipgen, in the name of this. In itaw na usangin lungjing ta nakitaw layin mundang dang aboy na hasan na ana umhan lang hinong le tuni huin chilaya boy to helin inho mong hathi dingin pathin in phat phai pevin je chana bel velin pathin kathang ba in chuteng le khusung le veng sung chuteng le hausa ho hichikin su bulit na jem hoi dinga hungjo si napon chawin inam tiu binin kalim nan kakhut kain dame napon chawin kain lemoi
isana gamne mona hilo ibu gamang de ding nei so nai ko so li ko banga ki bolde zalena imu nai ko ki ding do gal ang iu tham hey hey o kan lai son i ding i thim thum tui bang ki kum thei lâu hằng nắng bia thì thei lâu đi thì bia nắng sông mong sâu đi lâu đi ngày lút ban gia linh đi sang ki to si tui bang ki kum ki tai te
amasan jana sangta kahong pen ipu president Puto Uthang Kuki National Assembly, and my due respect to today's chief guest Sri Mukul Kumar Saikia, SCS Deputy Commissioner of Dipu, Karbi Anglong, and then also my regards and love and respect goes to all those my friend Dr. Tuboy and all those who are in the dais and off the dais. Mipi kanung langa lai chunga hong tu hohan lang malanga tu ho se dana kong pebin ama sa penin itu se diu dan het thum ta bangin khe thaleven ama sen ibon chaw het the diu chief guest pun het the dingin English sin hong saying kating ata la khola samis jong het otin ak khole hindi jong bolat na khol ei pawai bol na lai di he. I would like to convey the message today in English first, and then I'll try to also make clear to you what we had, about the story of the Anglo-Kuki War of 1917-1919 in Assamese and Hindi as well. So, since I do not prepare, I will simply try to read it out so that you will have a clear picture of what the Anglo-Kuki War was. Before we do that, the first thing we need to understand is who are the Kukis. You know, once I say to one of my friends that who are the Kuki is as tough as a question to answer as who are the Assamese. That we could not settle, and because of that, the 6th clause of Assam Accord implementations could not be executed. So but some people objected to what I say. So the Kuki, it is not very simple just to define it. This is Kuki. So, but we can say that all the kinder groups of the Kukis are people of common Mongolian origin and belonging to the same linguistic group of Tibeto-Burman and having a close cultural and social affinity. All the Kuki tribes, they share common history and origin. But unfortunately, since the British period, the Kukis have been the worst victims of the policy of divide and rule, and were by design were inhabited and were placed and positioned and scattered as buffers in different parts of the present Northeast India and beyond. So in Northeast, the Kukis are found inhabited in the state of Mizoram, Nagaland, Manipur, Assam and Tripura. And in Assam, in our state, they are predominantly found inhabiting the district of North Kachar Hill, now we call it Dima Hasao, and Karbi Anglong, which was also it is known as Mikir Hills. And also we find this community in some pockets of Kachar, Karimganj and Hailakandi districts, and also they are also found in most of the cities of Assam. So the Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of Assam listed 37 scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, and they listed as per the modification order of number SR 02477A dated New Delhi 29 October 1956. The Ministry of Home Affairs had listed 37 tribes, and all these are considered to be Kukis. I would like to tell you one thing before I proceed, that in Assam, when we say Assam, before independence, it covers almost all the Northeast states, including Assam, now Assam and others, 7 sisters, we could put it in that way. So during those days, we know that when we say Assam, it covers this present Assam and other sister states, and also beyond that, we should also have to recall that that includes some parts of Burma. Now we call it Myanmar. So now coming to, we perhaps understand who the Kukis are. So the next question is, what actually is this Anglo-Kuki War 1917-1919? So for better understanding of this historical setting, we really need to know how it had started. So this war is one of the greatest recorded historical event in the history of the Kukis. But in fact, I also would like to say that it is not only the history of the Kuki alone, but it is a very historical importance for all the people of Northeast and also for India, for that matters. Because the Kukis fought not only for their land, but they have fought for the land, now we call it India, and also those part of Burma, now they call it Myanmar. So in that context, we can say that this war is not only a war which has been fought by the Kukis, now who are gathering here in a very few numbers. Actually, it was a war that matters to each and every one of us. But it is very unfortunate that this story, the great historical event, could not come into the limelight. Maybe because the fall lies in us, also maybe because of the fall of the academicians, the scholars and researchers who could not bring out to the outside world. So this Anglo-Kuki War should not be confined only to the people of now who are here. So it is also a history of all of us. Had there been no Anglo-Kuki War, I think the geographical map we have today would have been different. It would have a different geographical picture. But now we have all those areas in most part of the those area where the war took place. War theater we call. The war took place. It is about 6,000 square kilometers. It is a big theater. And this war is known by very different names. Like some people call it the revolt, Kuki revolt. Some call it Kuki punitive measures. Some call it Kuki rebellion. Some call it Kuki rising. Some call it Kuki war of independence, and so on and so forth. And in the local dialects, we call it. Some call it Sabgal. Sab means the British. They are referred as Sab. Sabgal, or some call it Haukip war, or some call it Jogar, and they term it in their own way. But it is very appropriate to call it Anglo-Kuki war because it is a war which is fought by the Kukis against the Britishers, the mighty Britishers. As we all know, it is said that the sun never set in the empire of the British. They are so great. Nobody dared to raise voice against these people. But the Kukis, they have challenged because their rights, because their land, and because of the freedom. Because you know, the British are people, they are imperialistic. They are, extending their colonies. And because of this, people have fear of the British. But the Kukis fought against this, the British. So this is one thing, you know, there are many other historical events like the tribal revolts we have. But among these tribal revolts, I think this is one of the most important tribal revolts against the British. Because in terms of the year-longs that they fought, and the casualties, and the money spent by the British, and the weapons they have used, if we take all this into account, if we look at that picture, you know, this is not a simple war. This is not just a revolt, but this is a fight. This is a war of independence. Because we don't want to be dominated. We don't want that our land should be taken away by the British. We want to be independent. For that we fought for freedom, we fought for our land, we fought for our motherland. Now sometimes I questions, there are people who want to secede from India, who want to go away from India. They never wanted to claim that they are Indians. You know? Recently, Article 370 was abolished. We all know that. That was, we know about the power of that being enjoyed by Jammu and Kashmir. That was abrogated with great difficulty, I should say. And we wanted to make India one India. We don't want two India or two nation theory or three nation theory or share sovereignty. We believe in one India. For that we go for we don't support this kind of secessions. In any movement that we have, we are asking for a land in which we can peacefully grow and progress. We never talk of seceding from India, going away from India. You know what I mean to say is that why not? The question is, why not the Indians fail to understand? Why do they fail to understand that we are Indians? And we are fighting, we had our forefathers fought for this country. This is the contributions we made, which is not acknowledged so far. Our contributions, the life that we sacrifice is yet to be acknowledged. Some people say that this history does not find place in the history books. But I say no. This story has a very, very prominent place in the history. But after independence, the books which are authored by Indians or the textbooks which are prepared by the Indian do not give place and space for this
great Anglo-Kuki war. That is the pain. It is not that it is not in the history. It was better written in the history by the people against whom we fought, the British. The British have given us a better place than the Indian for whom we fought today. We are not given a place in the textbook, nor in the history, nor in the Indian history. So this is the feeling, not of mine, but it is the feeling of the people of this community. We feel it. We feel it. And because of this feeling, that feel us alienated. We feel that we are not a part of India at times. Because our culture, the language we speak is different. You know, we do not come under the webs of Sanskritization. Therefore, we do not know about the Sanskritic language. Say, for example, we are not good in Hindi, so that we are not good in Sanskrit. We do not understand the classical language and dances, and we could not taste the flavor. And because of this, sometimes we feel. But today, what I would like to say, we had never demanded to walk away from India. Rather, we want to integrate. So this is what we are standing today. The very important thing that we have to note today. So 1917 to 1919, 3 years, imagine, in the village, in the hill terrain, people are fighting against the British. How do they do that? One has to think. And we call it guerrilla tactics. You attack and run away. That was, we call it guerrilla warfare. If we say guerrilla warfare, the British are also not that bad. They have the Indian armies who can do that. But what makes these people sustaining this war for almost complete 3 years, imagine. From where did they get the guns and the arms? From where did they get the food supplies? How do they look after their children and wife and property? From where do they get the food? How do they sustain 3 years? Imagine. Many people ask this question. The answer is nothing, but it is because they were united. They stood together. That is one reason for which they could resist, and they fought the British Empire. Imagine. Compared to the British army and the weapon they have, what do we have? We do not have. But because the Kukis are expert in making gunpowders, they can make their own guns, they make their own cannons. They fought the war. And there are people who hunt wild animals, so they are very good in traps. They even made human traps in which the British could not, they do not know. They are being trapped by the traps they made. So these are the points which we need to note today. As okay sumilene eho iha now chu British te ido zo now chu ikam iti hala ido zo now chu gal mancha phat manjong hilo ahi lo la ichi man wa lo hi poi ti hi ka sei nom ikito ze wa chu idin khom ze wa chu gal chu kum thum chu ne di jong khoi lai kila hom hoi lai chu mei pu ma kila wa hoi lai chu kilo khop i ti hin kho ma na kum thum chu cha la nau nong jeng jong ding na ka ngai to chi la chu i te kum thum de big a je chu kito chu a je da kito lo te a lo long a kho lo ha ji ale dunia e hot iman he iman chai wa ki kendi wa chu ki chai mong mong na po na lo ham ke wang ka i mu thei po jan ha ka se ka i mu thei po ka no ka relax thei lo a je chu ai mu thei lo chu ka lung ge na cho le na cho lo ham ke wang mi ka cho do lo cho mi ho ka bele i je ti lo indifferent chu chu ite tu chana ta hayom da lai du ham na hichik ki to na he ki to na man lo diu le imo man he ti ka sei do no ayo ten ka sei hai ding he chi ya ka hong se chi je chen tu na iman no he a lo ting he iti wal ki to di ba differences ilong gel mi hem chu chom chom na mi hem chu igel ngai to chom chom I du dong chom che ngai to hi jong le nam kan to de nam lo pi ne hello nam ma chal na ding hi te le ke ya pa hi kitu tadi nge ti pa he ini yo ngai e ho kitim mo ngai mi hem cha kitim thelo le mi hem helo kitim je ngai he ino nop sei jang ino nop mu yang de ti he mi hem ke he phone a je chu mi hem chon na e so tai na lai na to na tha yang de ham na tha lo de Aya mi hem ki kitima cho lain ki thale min eng lui sat ne ki kitim eso ba ki kitima in ki hola ki tha hai na ai ba te khan lampin che ta bong khum we chen bong ham kon azun tha de teng o chipa ko ngai chin nu nga khom ka sa che ga ko ngai ga te ti lo cho a tha ye ga ta tha ye na ibam dem a head lo cho ki control jo lo hai ka ti na animality gan hi na chu ma chu ai ba yo hi gan hi na lo wa mi hem hi na chu me di teng je ki control ngai sei nom khat jong sei lo ding du chat ma na yong ne lo ding chi chu ibol di hi chu ti deng le ki tu na principle ki ti ai man sei pi khan he ne ngai hi chu ne teng chu le ina to he lo theng he ti ka sei lo si chu ane he pu le pa te a ki thu lo da na chu na I thu simu I he su ke sei tam po le a ngai lo te sadam sa ane wa ane lo te ho chu a hal ha ye a ki tu dan. There is a one important, very significant in this warfare is one we call sacred code. Amar eta se ne jui jolwa ki ko khuri ami jitia jui jola pasat ada thaki jai he tu logot hiyote bhut jolokia bani pelai hiyote ready korise eta sacred code jate hiyote eneka iman traditional wisdom ase hiyotok chinta koribo he titia 1917 or kotha gaulia manu kobo paribo taon thaka nohon he keta chinta korok sampuni hiyotok kiman wisdom kiman gyani ase kobo bole amar aji dinot tulonat hiyotok kiman agbarise moi aji chinta korise gutri ka karon ki ase hiyote eta bhut jolokia ar ei jui jola apra khore tukura logot bani pela hiyotok koise hiyote pura mane agot assembly meeting kora hoise jibilak chief ase আজি dinot gangura kom teo bolak kole se he dinot jitia juddho arambho hobo titia eta secret code manu na janibo kintu hiyote ei hetu tukura or jolokia bani hiyote gaongot এজনে আমাৰ ৰিলে যেনেকা কৰো যে অলিম্পিক এজনৰ পৰা এজন লোৱা তেনেকুৱা লৈ গৈ প্ৰত্যেক গাঁৱত গৈ ইহঁতে এই খবৰটো দিছে আমাৰ যুদ্ধ আৰম্ভ হ'ল তেতিয়া সব প্ৰিপেয়াৰ হৈ গ'ল বুঝছানে সিহঁতে এক্সপাৰ্ট এটা মানে গান পাউডাৰ বনোৱা নিজে বনোৱা সব নিজে ইন্ডিজিনাস আজি হেতু কাৰণে মই কৈছো ইন্ডিজিনাস বস্তুটো কি আছে নিজে কিবা বনোৱা হ'ব লাগিব নিজে কিবা চিন্তা কৰি সৃষ্টি কৰা হ'ব আজি হেতু আমি কৰিছিলো আমাৰ আজি যুগত যদি কোনোবা কৈছে আপুনি কি মিছা কথা কৈছে বা আপুনি হসা কি আছে মোক প্ৰমাণ কৰ মই কওঁ আপুনি ব্ৰিটিছ মিউজিয়ামত যোৱা তেতিয়া গম পাব কি আছে আপোনাৰ কিতাপ আছে মই দিম আপুনি হিষ্ট্ৰী পঢ়িব আছে মোক কোৱা মই দিম কি কিমান লাগে আপোনাৰ और ब्रिटिश म्यूजियम में गई सब प्रत्येक डॉक्यूमेंट्स फाइल जिबिलाक चिप बिलाकर जेतिया जेरल লৈ গৈছে বা বিমাৰ আছে গুটে ৰেকৰ্ড আপোনাৰ মোৰ লগতে আছে কেটামান লাগিলে মই দিম আৰু মোৰ লগত গুৰুকে মই এটা কাহিনী লিখিছো পিছত মই কৈ আছো সেই কথাটো মই দিম আপোনালোক যদি লাগিলে সো গুটিকে আচলতে বহুত মানুহ ভাবে যে এই যুদ্ধ আৰম্ভ হৈছে এই তেও বিলাকক ব্ৰিটিছ চৰকাৰে এই লেবাৰৰ কাৰণে লৈ যাব বিচাৰিছে ফ্ৰেঞ্চত তেতিয়া আমাৰ যুদ্ধ হৈছে প্ৰথম যুদ্ধ আমাৰ কি কয় ফাৰ্ষ্ট ৱৰ্ল্ড ৱাৰ তেতিয়া কিন্তু হেতু এটা আমি কওঁ যে ইমিডিয়েট কজ হেতু বাদ দি আমাৰ বহুত আছে কজেস কিন্তু এটা হেতু হে এটা ইমিডিয়েট কজ বুলি কওঁ গতিকে মই আজি ক'ব বিচাৰিছো যে এনেকুৱা আমাৰ জনজাতি অসমত মই দেখিছো যে আজি দিনত আমি এটা বস্তু খুব চিন্তা কৰি আছো আমি অসমীয়া হৈতে চিন্তা কৰিছো যে আমি অসমীয়া কোন হয় মই আৰম্ভণিতে হেতু কলো অসমীয়া কোন হয় সেই অসমীয়া কোন হয় ক'বলৈ দিগদাৰ পাম নহয় আমি কেলে অসমীয়া কলে কি অসমীয়া পাৰিলে অসমীয়া হৈ যায় নেকি মানুহ তেতিয়া হলে আমাৰ বিহাৰী আছে মাৰৱাৰী আছে বেংগলী আছে নেপালী আছে নেপালৰ পৰা আহি 2 বছৰ থাকিলে বিহু নাচিব পাৰিলে গলাত এনেকা ডিঙিত জুলাই দিলে অসমীয়া কামচা অসমীয়া নহয় হৈ নাযায় নহয় তেতিয়া হলে অসমীয়া নেকি হতে তেতিয়া হলে হেতু অসমীয়া নহয় তেতিয়া হলে কি হ'ব অসমীয়া হেতু দিগদাৰ হৈ গ'ল ন ডিফিনেশ্যন দিয়া গতিকে এই সাৰে জানিব বেছি দিন হোৱা নাই 5 তাৰিখ অক্টোবৰ লাষ্ট ডেট দিছিলে যে আমাৰ আসাম একট ক্লজ 6 ৰ মতে আমাৰ কনস্টিটিউশনাল এডমিনিষ্ট্ৰেটিভ অৰ লিজিসলেটিভ প্ৰটেকশনস আমাৰ নিজৰ এই ইন্ডিজিনাস মানুহবিলাকক এই ৰক্ষা কৰিবৰ কাৰণে প্ৰটেক্ট কৰিবৰ কাৰণে লাগে সেইটো আসাম একৰ্ডত লিখা থোৱা হ'ল 6 ক্লজ 6 কিন্তু সেই বস্তুটো আমি যদি তেওঁবিলাকৰ প্ৰটেক্ট কৰিব হয় কনস্টিটিউশন এডমিনিষ্ট্ৰেটিভ লিজিস্লেটিভ কাক কৰিব লাগে কোন হয় অসমীয়া বিচাৰিব সেই প্ৰবলেমটো হৈছে তেনেকৈ মই ক'লো যে প্ৰথম আমাৰ মাজতে তেনেকা কি ক'লেও অলপ বুজাবলৈ বহুত দিগদাৰ তথাপি আমি মই ক'লো হেকেটা মই আকৌ দৰাই নাযাওঁ সেই কথাটো আজি মই নিজে লিখিছো আমাৰ অসমৰ আমাৰ এপেক্স বডি আমি কুকিং পিপলে কয় তেওঁবিলাকে মোক কৈছে আপুনি লিখকচোন আপোনাৰ আমাৰ ৰাইট বিচাৰিছে আমাৰ ভিউজ আমাৰ অপিনিয়নছ আমাৰ সাজেশন বিচাৰিছে তেতিয়া মোক কৈছে মই সময় পোৱা নাই তথাপি মই লিখিলো মই তাত এটা স্পেসিফিক মই ক'ব বিচাৰিছে যে মই তিনি ভাগৰ আমাৰ অসমীয়া জাতিবিলাক বা অসমীয়া আসামিজ ভাগ কৰিম আমি ভাগ কৰিম প্ৰথম হ'ব ইন্ডিজিনাস আসামিজ দ্বিতীয় হ'ব ইন্ডিজিনাস ট্ৰাইবেল আসামিজ বা আসামিজ ট্ৰাইবেলছ তৃতীয় হ'ব অন্য জাতিবিলাক মই ক'লো প্ৰথম আৰু দ্বিতীয় এই দুটা অসমীয়াবিলাকক সেই কনস্টিটিউশনাল legislative or administrative protection jo bisariso ami clause 6 Assam Accord or jugedi heitu ei duta indigenous belage pabol oino belagot jutu apuni oino desot gole ji pabo hitui pab ami Gujarat jam ba Odisha jam jetu hador Indian citizenship Indian nagorik hoite ami jetu pam hiote pabo lage kintu আমি স্পেশাল যেটো রাইট স্পেশাল কনস্টিটিউশনাল প্রটেকশন এই দুটা ক্যাটাগরি পাবলে মই আমি সাজেশন দিম হেতু বহুত মানুহে কিতিয়া মনত লাগে যে মই এটা সেমিনাৰ পঢ়িছিল হে কিতিয়া বহুত ডিসকাশন হৈছিল মোক এজন প্ৰফেসৰ কৈছে ডঙ্গল স্যার উঠকছ আপুনি কিয় মই আপুনি ভাবিছে নাকি যে অসমীয়া বলে বলা মুখ ঘুৰিছে যে আপুনি ভাবিছে নে আপুনি অসমীয়া বলে মই কি ক'লো মই ক'লো ঠিক আছে স্যাৰ আপুনি ইমান মানুহ মাজতে মুখ কেলে ঘুৰিছে মোৰ ওচৰত গগৈ বহিছে এফালে হয়কিয়া বহিছে তেওঁবিলাক ঘুৰি কেলে না যে তোমালো অসমীয়া ভাবি নেকি তোমালো অসমীয়া বলে কেলে মুখ ঘুৰিছে মুখ ঘুৰা কোনে আমি কেতিয়াবা ভাবি লগা হৈ যায় যে আমি অসমীয়া নহয় নেকি কিন্তু আমি অসমীয়া জনজাতি হল সেই প্ৰমাণটো আমি সেই আমাৰ এংলো-কুকি ওয়ার্ড যেতিয়া আমি এই কি কম অঞ্চল এই নর্থ ইস্ট অঞ্চল আমি ৰক্ষা কৰিলো আমি প্ৰটেক্ট কৰিলো আমি ডিফেন্ড কৰিলো আৰু বহুত হিষ্ট্ৰী আছে কাহিনী আছে এইবোৰ নাযাওঁ So আমার और একটা কাহিনী আমি যদি বিচাৰো বহুত আছে কিন্তু মই এই কথা তাৰ পিছত মই এটা বহুত অন্তৰৰ পৰা মই ধন্যবাদ দিছো যে আমাৰ অসম চৰকাৰ কেলে মই ক'ব বিচাৰিছে এই আমাৰ এই যুদ্ধৰ পিছত আমাৰ চিফ আমাৰ চিফ বিলাকৰ মানে হস্তি দিব লাগে ব্রিটিশ সরকার তো হস্তি দিবই as a punishment they were given certain sentences some chief they were given 20 years some were given even 10 years but in the process of judgment their punish has been reduced and ultimately it has been reduced to 5 years so what happened these chiefs who are supposed to lead this war, they have been exiled. Rucho, Soria. Amar hitu kone Hodia logot সম্পৰ্ক যুদ্ধ আছে relationship. What down? Mo kose Hodia apnalo jane na nai. Hodia is the birthplace of our legendary Bhupen Hazarika. Na Hey, Hodia এটা গুৰু ঠাই নহয়, বহুত ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট হিষ্টৰিকেল প্লেচ। সেইটোৰ লগত আমাৰ কমিউনিটি খুব এটা ডাঙৰ এটা হিষ্টৰিকেল ৰিলেশ্যন আছে। সেইটো কাৰণে মই ইয়াত লিখিছোঁ যে দ্য কুকিজ হিষ্টৰিকেল কানেকশ্যন উইথ শদিয়া। মই সেইটো কাৰণে বাৰ সেইটো কৈছোঁ, অসম আছাম। তেতিয়া অসম ক'লে নৰ্থ ইষ্ট, গোটেই নৰ্থ ইষ্ট। তাৰ ভিতৰতে এতিয়াও আমি অসমত আছোঁ। আৰু বিশেষকৈ আমাৰ এই যিবিলাক যুদ্ধ কৰিছে আমাৰ পূৰ্বপুৰুষবিলাকক তাত জেলত থৈছে। কিছুমানত বৰ্মা জেলত দিছে, সেইবোৰ বেলেগ কাহানী। কিন্তু ডাঙৰ কাহানী সেইটো শদিয়া কথাটো মই উল্লেখ কৰিছোঁ ইয়াত। So মই এই হুৰুকে মই ইয়াত লিখিছোঁ, it was because of this historical episode that coincidentally connected Shodia and the Kuki. Therefore, the Kuki NP appealed to the government of Assam so that land may be provided to them. Land may be provided to them. A plot of land at Shodia for what? Anglo-Kuki Memorial Park. So that we can commemorate and honor our forefathers. So what happened? We had finally the Assam government in its cabinet meeting held on the 28th January. 28th January 2016. They had approved the proposal and request of the Kuki NP, and accordingly, Joint Secretary, Revenue and DM Department, Assam Secretary issued the land allotment order via number RSS 1637/2012/123 dated the 25th January 2016. So a land was allotted, a land আমাৰ তাতে মানে 4 বিঘা আপোনাৰ যে এই যে আমাৰ হদিয়া ব্ৰিজ আছে যে এই ব্ৰিজৰ পৰা 4 কিলোমিটাৰ হ'ব বাম সাইডত এটা ধুনীয়া ঠাই আমাক দিয়া হৈছে। সেই ঠাইত असम सरकार हम लोगों को दिया है कि वहाँ पे तुम्हारा जो पूर्वपुरुष हमारे फोरफादर्स लोग को यादगार के लिए और वो लोग को सम्मान देने के लिए एक पार्क, मेमोरियल पार्क बनाने के लिए हमने खोजा है उसको। That was been granted by the government of Assam. That is my pride being Assam. That is my pride being to call myself Assamese. Why I'm saying by relationship and by blood, Mizoram is a state which we are also in other way call ourselves Mizo. But Mizoram government did not acknowledge or did not give even an inch of land so that we can have a commemoration or memorial park for Anglo-Kuki war. Whereas talk of Manipur, in which most of the Kukis are inhabited in Manipur, not even an inch is given. And in fact, the Kuki are insulted, they are being suppressed politically, and they are being divided by the game of divide and rule. And this, even till this very moment, the process is on from back to good. But whereas the government of Assam had consented us 4 bighas so that we can have a memorial park in memory of our brave forefathers. Is it not great? That's why I say that I took pride in being an Assamese tribal. The Karbi, the Dimasa, and the Garo, and so on. We have both Janajati ase amar majot. Ke aji Anglo-Kuki wer ami jitia observe korisu. Itia akol yat observe kori play a stone mukule korim. Tate ami bhat khai ulai jao. Tate amar ekko me pabolo. Kiba pabolo ba bostu ba kotha আমি উল্লেখ কৰিলোঁ। সেইটো কাৰণে মই ক'লোঁ আপোনালোক কিছুমান অহা নাই, because the strongest message which we get from the Anglo-Kuki war is unity. It is because of the unity of the Kuki chief